Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is staying safe in this winter weather. So I have the opportunity to teach our Get to Active World team video this week. And this week we're going to talk about scheduling and leading monthly mapping sessions. So really, a monthly mapping session is something that we schedule at the beginning of the month. So schedule at the end of the month for the beginning of the next month, because you really want to have an opportunity to lay out the month ahead for your distributor. And it really gives you an opportunity to have a platform to help them grow as distributors. So a couple of reasons why monthly mapping sessions are so important. First, it gives you an opportunity to continue to build the relationship with your team member. So as we're going from everyday life, we're being entrepreneurs, we're building our businesses, sometimes it can get challenging to connect up with your team members. And as your organization grows, you may find this to be even more true. And so when you have a mapping session scheduled, you know that you have at least 1 hour out of your month designated to focus on nothing else than helping this team member grow and building a relationship with them. During your mapping session, it gives you an opportunity to review their goals for that upcoming month, and it allows you both to formulate a plan for how they're going to reach them. So it gives them an opportunity to think about, okay, here's my goal. I'm going to have 3 brand new preferred members, and here's my plan and the action for how I'm going to reach those. And then as a leader, you can really step in and say, okay, great, that's an awesome plan. That action will yield those results. Or you can say, okay, maybe something to consider would be a little bit more action in this area, because what you have down right now is most likely not going to yield 3 preferred members. It allows you to step in with the experience that you have and say, this is a great plan, or maybe we need to tweak it a little bit. It helps with your own mapping session. So if you have someone who is not quite at the distributor level yet, let's say Sammy is planning to do 1,000 volume points. She's going to hit qualified producer. Well, you've met with Sammy. You have a game plan. She feels confident in it. So you can confidently map 1,000 volume points into your own personal volume goal, because Sammy is clear on what Sammy's doing and her volume counts as your volume. Same works with someone who is inside of your organization. So let's say Mary is a supervisor and Mary is working on her 3rd cut of active supervisors. So we know that her goal is 2,500 volume points or more for the month. Now you sit down with her, she's clear on her goal, you're clear on her goal, you've got a plan, she's confident in it. When you come to map your own organizational volume, you can be pretty confident that Mary is going to do 2,500 volume points. Okay, so it helps you clear in your own tracking for, am I on track for hitting Active World Team this month? Am I on track for hitting my first cut of Global Expansion Team? Gives you a great opportunity to have mentoring conversations if there's something that your team member is working through, working on developing a certain skill, or maybe experiencing an issue that they need your help with. And then also, our teams don't do what we say, they do what they see. So if you're doing monthly mapping sessions with your own team members, they will do mapping sessions with their team members. But if you're not doing them, there's a really good chance that they also are not doing them with their team members. And what happens, you guys, is this connection point is so important. As you've noticed from this past couple weeks with changes going on inside of the Nutrition Club, there's always so many changes in our business, right? And what happens is when you don't have that time to connect up, you can lose track of what your distributor is doing, and they could be doing something totally different outside of the Herbacruise system. And then when you do connect up, or they do have something they do need your help on, it's like, I have no idea what you're doing. I'm not even sure where to step in and help, because what you're doing is so far off of what the Herbacruise system is doing. So if you continue with those monthly mapping sessions, it really gives you good perspective on what your team member is doing before it gets so far down the road that you really have a hard time reining it back in to be able to help them be successful. Okay, so when do we schedule these mapping sessions? We schedule them for the upcoming month at the end of the current month. So for example, this is the last week of the month. On Friday, it'd be a great time to send out messages to your team about doing monthly mapping sessions. So a typical message would sound something like, hey, it's time to schedule our December monthly mapping session. Please send over 2 to 3 times for the first week of December that work for you. You're asking them to send you 2 to 3 times that work for them. And then when you have all of your team members 2 to 3 times, you're able to say, okay, I can make this work in my schedule. and lay it out versus like, hey, does this work for you? Oh, shoot, that doesn't work. Does this one work for you, right? Like it just keeps it, your time is important, right? So asking them for 2 to 3 times that work for them, and then you can choose what works for you. And then they say, okay, great, you guys have decided on Monday at 2 p.m. Awesome. So Carrie, here's what I'm going to have you do. Please go to the Team Herber Crew website, print out the monthly mapping document, fill that out, and have it sent back over to me no later than 24 hours before our mapping session. So this is super important, you guys, to have a deadline for that, because you as the leader need time to prepare for their mapping session. It's so important that you take time to sit down and review what their goals are, review their action plan, so that you can come up with an action plan and be the best leader for them during that scheduled time, versus just getting that document and trying to assess and come up with a game plan right on the spot. And you guys, this is so important that often if I don't have a team member who sends me that in the time that I have asked for it, I will actually reschedule that appointment with them, because it is so important for me to be able to prepare so that I am my best for them. You might not need 24 hours. It depends on what your schedule looks like. Maybe you only need 3 hours, right? That can be up to you, but that deadline is really important for them to get back to you so that you have time to prepare. Okay, so let's talk about walking through a mapping session. So Team Herber Crew website, our mapping document is under the recruiting tab. And let's just take a quick peek at this. Okay, so you guys are familiar with this document because this is probably what you use for your own mapping sessions, right? And you've been doing them with your own mentor, so you're clear on what this is. But what I love about this when I'm working with a team member, I just want to point out a few things that I really hone in on. So if you're doing monthly mapping sessions with them month after month, you're really able to get a clear picture of what's been going on inside of their business. So last month's numbers, right? You can reflect on, okay, here's the goals that we set for last month. Did they happen? Why or why not? Okay. So for example, if you have someone who says, I'm going to have my goal last month was to have 3 new preferred members. I had 0. My goal this month is to have 3 new preferred members. Then you can say, okay, great. That's awesome, Carrie. I know you have a really strong goal of being an Active World team member by April of this year. So here's the deal. We've been setting a goal of having 3 new preferred members month after month after month, and that's not happening. And that's so important. That action is so important for you reaching that end goal of Active World Team by April. So here's the deal. Let's talk about this. You had a goal of 3, 0 last month. You have a goal of 3 this month. What's going to be different for you this month? What action item are you going to do differently to make sure that that 3 new preferred members happens no matter what, right? And then have them come up with the answers for you. Like, let them brainstorm what those are going to be. So often as leaders, we're quick to fill in, right? Like we're quick to jump in and answer, and here's your plan, and here's what you need to do, right? Listen to what their ideas are, because honestly, if they are their ideas, there is a lot greater chance that they're going to carry them out because they have ownership in that idea. So maybe it's more invitations, maybe it's hosting another event at the club, whatever that might be, right? But asking those questions, like what's going to be different for you this month? All right. So if their goals are not being met, this is a great place to look, right? Here's your goal. That's a super great goal. But what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is that the action that you currently have going on is not lining up with when you want to achieve that goal by. So let's reassess your action. What do we maybe need to add more of? What do we need to adjust, right? You can come back to this as a really good base for what action is actually happening inside of their business. Are they having a lot of zeros, right? What action is happening inside of their business? And another thing that I really like to make sure we keep honesty around what's actually happening in our business. So sometimes we like to not write anything if we don't have anything, right? Like no new team members, we just leave it blank. I really encourage my team to actually fill in the zeros. It's really important. I know it's not fun to fill those in at the time, but this is just for you. Like this is your business, right? So it's really important to be the CFO of your business and to say, okay, I had zeros here. It sucks, but I'm going to acknowledge it so that I can be aware of where I'm at so that I can make a positive plan to move forward. Because when we just move on in denial, then there's no like, here's where I'm at, I'm gonna choose a different course. We just keep moving on and glazing over the surface. So being the CFO of your own business, where are my numbers actually at? If they're 0, write the zeros in, okay? Talking about their goals, super important. I love this part because this is a great spot for promotions, right? If there is a promotion that your team member is maybe not aware of or they're missing out on, like you making sure that you yourself as the leader are on top of those promotions, but then also coming back and saying, okay, that's awesome. I love these goals. This is excellent. So what about this promotion, right? How are you doing towards that? It keeps the promotions in the forefront of their mind. And then you guys, out of the entire mapping document, this is my favorite thing. 3 things on my mind that I would like coaching on. This is a great spot for those mentoring conversations. And this is why it's so important that you get this document ahead of time, because your team member is going to tell you exactly what is going on with their business based on these 3 things. You will be able to get a clear picture of what's happening inside of their business based on the questions that they come to you with. And here's the deal, you guys, if they don't come with any questions, that's a really good indicator of what's going on in their business. Probably not a whole lot, right? And their questions are going to change. It might be, how can I increase my memberships at the club? How can I get more clients? Can you talk to me about, like, can you listen to my follow-up system and see if there's anything I need to tweak on there? Can we talk about this? I need some mentoring on this. I find that I'm losing clients. But then it might transition into, here's what I'm experiencing with a team member. Can you help me figure out how to best help them, right? Like these conversations will change as their business grows. But if there is nothing written down here, like, no, I'm good, right? They're most likely just doing their mapping session as a checkoff, right? This is something I'm supposed to do versus, gosh, like this is what's going on and I need to talk about it. Like, you're my mentor. Like, can we talk about this? You've probably been through this. I need some advice in these areas. I love the 3 things on my mind I would like coaching on because it tells me exactly what's happening in my team member's business. All right, let's head back to our presentation and let's wrap up here. Okay, so a couple tips as you're going through this. Ask questions, right? Like this is your opportunity to dig deeper and figure out what's going on inside of the mind of your team member, right? Get to know them, right? Like get to know like, oh, this is their strength zone. This is the trap they tend to fall in. Are they self-sabotaging in certain parts of their business? Like get an opportunity to know them and what's going to motivate them, because you're going to be able to speak from that platform as their leader. Okay, review and plan ahead of time. We talked about why this is so important, but you have a limited amount of time with this team member and you want to make sure that you are doing everything to have them set up for success. And that takes you being on top of the game and planning ahead of time. Having an issue, right? Like, are they experiencing an issue? They're going through those 3 things they need coaching on. This is a great opportunity to, again, ask more questions, right? Like ask more questions, get a clear picture. And what happens, you guys, is when you ask questions, they always say 3 questions deep, right? So they tell you what's going on. Okay, could you tell me a little bit more about that? Okay, what do you mean by this? If you can ask 3 questions deep, well, what do you think would be a good solution? Chances are they're going to answer their own question, okay? And what you're doing is you're not just providing that answer, you're not enabling them, but you are empowering them to be solution-oriented and come up with their own conclusions and their own solutions for this. So first things first, before we are quick as leaders to respond and give our thoughts and our advice, ask them what theirs are. Ask them some questions. And then lastly, after you have that first meeting of the month, it's so important to just be like, not be like, peace out, Girl Scout, good luck this month, right? But to follow up and to check in with that accountability. So one thing I love to do is right around mid-month, right around that 15th, is to touch base on some of their more prominent goals. Okay, girl, I know you were super, super focusing on getting those new preferred members this month. Where are we at? How many trials have we had out? How many new clients do we have? Do you have anybody in the funnel? What are we doing, right? So that you're able to say, okay, maybe that means we need to do some more invites, or we need to have some more conversations across the counter in order for you to hit this goal in the next 15 days. It allows you to check in and set up for success. All right, you guys, action items. Okay, so it is the last week of November. We are setting up December mapping sessions. So your action item for this week is to actually schedule those mapping sessions with your team members for December. If you have never done this before, if you have never led one and you're a little nervous about it, reach out to your sponsor, right? They're doing them with you. They're going to be able to have some really good feedback for you, and they might even do one with you for the first time. Okay, so if you're nervous about this, reach out to your sponsor, but it is such an essential part to the growth of your organization. And I don't care how many distributors you have, I don't care where they're at in the marketing plan, starting this right now for your team is essential for your business growth. So schedule your mapping sessions with your team members, and then in the comments, post below the names of the team members that you will be scheduling those mapping sessions with. Again, it doesn't matter how many you have, it doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter where they're at in the marketing plan. A mapping session is something to do with each team member every single month. So this is your action items, you guys. Let's get these done before Thanksgiving. We got like 24 hours before all the festivities are gonna kick in. So take some time. Maybe you don't send out those mapping session messages until Friday, but be intentional about who you're gonna send those out to, and let's get them scheduled for December. So peace out, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.